Hi, my name is Anna Alsobrook, and I am a second-year master's student. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and came to UT for my undergrad. I took 3 years off and then decided to come back here for my graduate degree. It was probably about a year and a half after I graduated from undergrad that I decided I wanted to come back to be a geographer. So I actually majored in something else that was not geography in my undergrad. I majored in global studies and kind of got turned on to geography in a really random way. My major advisor professor was out of the country, and I had an advising appointment with someone random who I don't even know his name, but I couldn't get into this political science class that I wanted to get into, and he said, "You should try geography, it's really underrated, and it's really open." And I was like, okay. So I took it, and then decided that geography should be a bigger part of my life, and I made it my minor in undergrad. Anyway, I graduated my undergrad, and then I went into the Peace Corps pretty much right after graduation. And it was in Peace Corps that I decided that I knew I wanted to go to grad school, and I knew I wanted to go for geography. And a lot of that is because I remember my undergrad classes just being really fun and being really passionate about it and actually learning things. And those were my most enthusiastic professors, and that's why I wanted to come back. So, to jump backwards a little bit, I took Carol Hardin's water resources class as an undergrad, and loved it. And then fast forward it some, I'm in the middle of Peace Corps, and I live in a village that has a really tough time with water. It's a water-stressed village, and so I wanted to develop some kind of great water recycling program there. So I emailed Dr. Hardin when I was in my village, not when I was in the village, but when I was in in Senegal, and she came back with a lot of information and pointed me in some really cool directions in order to get something moving on the ground. And so that kind of got the ball rolling again about what I wanted to focus on in grad school. And one of my other projects in Senegal was I created a geography club at the school, and I painted a lot of maps at the school of the world, of Senegal, of Africa, and they loved that. And oh, this is a good story too. So my mom had sent me a map of the world, and I was putting it up in my hut, and I had about 20 kids in my hut at a time. And I pulled it out, and I was like, "Oh, where's Senegal?" And they pointed at the ocean, and they pointed at Russia, and they pointed at Canada. Pretty much like any big landmass, they thought that's what Senegal was, or they thought that it was the ocean, which is really sad because like you and I know that the color blue means water, but they definitely didn't know that. So that's kind of what spurred this geography club at the school. I painted all these maps and then created this club where a lot of times we just went through National Geographics, and I just pointed out things and told them what they were, and explained the stories, and we talked a lot about other cultures and life outside their village, what it looked like in the city in Senegal, what it looked like in the city in America, and then touched on some of my previous experiences abroad. But so that was really cool. We also planted a lot of trees because it was an environmental focus, I guess, on that club. But I feel like I'm rambling now.
No, it's fine. So, was it during this time that you contacted Carol, or?
No, these are two different projects. So
Okay.
I contacted Carol kind of early on in my Peace Corps service to implement this gray water idea in my head, and she sent me all these links to get the ball rolling, and then a little bit later on, this map thing happened, and that kind of got that ball rolling into the geography club and
Cool.
painting maps on the school walls. This department's been really supportive of me in my research. I've gotten to talk to faculty of all different areas of the spectrum and really beefed up my science, I feel like, because I am focusing on human-environment interactions, and that's a really hard thing to do, touching on both sides of the spectrum, and there's great faculty here that do that, and they've been really supportive of me and really investigative into what my research has come out to be.
So what was your research experience like going back to Senegal and researching the Great Green Wall?
My research experience going back was really adventurous. I got to do, it was very different than going over there as a Peace Corps volunteer. I got to be there as a professional, and I got to do research on the ground instead of trying, I don't want to phrase it that way. It was really cool because I was there as a professional and not necessarily as a volunteer. So one of the biggest things for me when I was over there is I got to employ one of my village girls to come up and be my research assistant. So she got to come up and learn some field work, and it was the furthest she had ever been away from her own village. So it got her out of this 30-mile radius that she had never been out of, and in interacting with people that she normally would not have been able to interact with before. So that was really exciting, and it kind of created for me this cultural exchange that is really priceless. So it's really cool to go back over there again. And of course I got to go back to my own Peace Corps village and see them and my host family and all of that. So that was really exciting.
So the female that you taught fieldwork to, what kind of methods did you teach her?
So her name is Rugi, and I taught her how to take like temperature measurements, diameter, DBH measurements, which are the diameter at breast height around a tree trunk, and we took incident solar radiation measurements, and then she helped me because in Senegal there's lots of different languages on the ground, and I know a couple, but she knows a lot more than I do. So whenever there was something that I didn't understand, she could translate it for me in a typical conversation or in an interview. So women's empowerment is really important to me, and to be able to take Ruby out of her village and pay her to do work in scientific work and educational work was really a cool experience for me, because it showed her father and all the other men in that community that women are prized for their intelligence. They don't just have to have babies at 14 years old, and the longer they stay in school, the better. What does the future hold? I don't know, but I think this program at the University of Tennessee, in the geography department, has really gave me a much bigger tool set to work with. I'm now able to do a lot more things with GIS. I'm now able to do a lot more things with remote sensing. I'm now able to create a research project and ask research questions and kind of self-start an interest in a project that stems from my interest. So what that looks like in the job market, I don't know, but I imagine that it would get me somewhere.